In a beautiful village nestled between towering mountains and lush green plains, there lived a young man named Zaid. Known in his village for his intelligence and enthusiasm, Zaid had one bad habit: procrastination and delaying tasks. Zaid would often say, "There is always time later for everything. Why rush?" He spent his days idling and playing, wandering along the riverbanks and through the surrounding forests, accomplishing little of value. Little did Zaid know that his habit would lead him to face an unexpected challenge. One cloudy morning, as Zaid lay under a tree, a mysterious man appeared in the village. Dressed in luxurious clothing and carrying a sword that gleamed like the sun, the man had an aura of authority. His voice, when he spoke, was deep and carried the weight of wisdom. Approaching Zaid, the man said, "Young man, I see you wasting your precious time. Have you heard the old adage, 'Time is like a sword. If you don't cut it, it will cut you'?" Zaid lazily smiled and replied, "I have heard it, but it's just words. I have plenty of time for everything." The man gave a subtle smile and said, "If that's what you believe, let me show you the truth in a way you will never forget." With a swift motion, the man drew his radiant sword and struck it into the ground. Suddenly, the ground beneath Zaid split open, and he found himself in a strange world. The world was dark, filled with eerie sounds and whispers. Zaid began walking cautiously, trying to understand what was happening. He came across a large stone door with the inscription, "The Gateway of Time." He opened the door carefully and stepped inside. Inside, Zaid found himself in a massive chamber, dominated by a giant clock ticking loudly. Beside the clock stood 3 small doors. Approaching the first, he read the inscription, "The Past." The second door read, "The Present," and the third, "The Future." The mysterious man's voice echoed, "Each door holds a lesson, Zaid. You have 1 hour to discover the wisdom within each door. Remember, time is like a sword. If you don't cut it, it will cut you." Zaid entered the first door and found himself in his village's past. He saw himself as a child playing, ignoring his father's constant warnings not to waste time. He witnessed moments when he could have learned valuable skills, but chose to play instead. He saw his mother sitting by the fireplace, sewing clothes and saying, "My son, time waits for no one. Use it wisely." Regret began to creep into Zaid's heart as he realized how much better he could have been if he had used his time wisely. But he was soon drawn back to the large chamber, where the clock's ticking grew faster. Next, he entered the second door. Zaid found himself in his present day and observed how he spent his time on trivial pursuits while his dreams remained unfulfilled. He saw his friends working hard and achieving success while he remained stagnant. He saw himself sitting under the same tree, watching others work while he idled aimlessly. Suddenly, he noticed a shadow approaching him. It was the mysterious man, holding the same sword, asking, "What will you do now? Will you wait any longer?" Ashamed, Zaid couldn't answer. He returned to the grand chamber, where the clock's hands now spun rapidly, as if reminding him that his time was running out. Finally, Zaid entered the third door, where he saw his future. It was bleak and devoid of achievements. He saw himself alone, watching others who had fulfilled their dreams. He saw a dilapidated house he had once dreamed of building, but never started. He saw a notebook filled with ideas he had written, but never acted upon. The most painful sight was an older version of himself, sitting on a rocking chair, lamenting his lost opportunities and weeping over wasted time. Zaid cried out, "No! This is not what I want. I want to change my future." Zaid was transported back to the central chamber, the clock ticking faster than ever. The voice said, "You have seen the past, present, and future. The decision is yours. Will you continue wasting your time, or will you cut it before it cuts you?" Zaid's heart pounded. He closed his eyes, and suddenly, he was back under the tree in his village. The sun was shining, and birds were singing, as if life had given him a new chance. He leapt to his feet and ran home. From that day forward, Zaid planned his days wisely, completed his tasks without delay, and dedicated time to achieving his dreams. He made every minute count, learning new skills and recognizing that time was his most valuable asset, never to be wasted. As the days passed, Zaid became one of the most successful men in his village. He built a beautiful home, achieved his dreams, and became a role model for others. Whenever he saw someone neglecting their time, he would gather them and say, "Always remember, time is like a sword. If you don't cut it, it will cut you." This is not just a saying, it is a truth I learned the hard way. Never let yourself regret lost time, for every minute is precious.